Hey gang, today we're going to do the solo from the yacht rock classic Lonesome Loser by Little River Band. It's actually a really pretty great solo, and a lot of good musicians in that band for sure. So it's a fun one. We'll do the chords some other time. I'll just cover the basics, but I'd like to actually do some of the other guitar parts because they are very cool. But we're going to mostly do the solo today. And anyway, if you like this one, please give it the thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe for a couple of these every single week. We'll be right up close with the note for note in just a second. All right, gang, let's go over this now note for note. First things first, you can download the tab from the link in the description below. It's going to make your life a little bit easier. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to do the solo first and then the tab. And I'll put, up here, I'll put sort of where the time is as well as putting into the description. And heck, I'll even put it in a comment so you can see. Just click on the time. You want to go to the chords, that's great. So we're mostly going to cover the solo, but we will have the tab. I don't have the tab for the chords written out. I just have the chord, sort of the sequence of chords for the intro, the verse, the chorus, and the bridge, but I do have the solo tabbed up. Okay, so we're going to do the solo first. Now the solo is over the chords D minor 7th and G. So you can think of it as G major pentatonic, works really well. It's probably best just to think about hitting some of those chord tones of that G or G7 because, you know, the slightly bluesy mixolydian, if you want to call it that, if you want to do if you're hell-bent on doing a scale, great. But I just think of it as playing over a G7 chord and a D minor 7 chord. You'd think that'd be key of C, which it is, but the G major pentatonic works pretty well if you're going to fool around with it. Okay, let's go over the solo. First things first, I'll play the whole thing slow-mo, and then I'll do it note for note. Okay, so here it is, whole thing slow-mo. Okay, so that's the whole thing slow-mo, or 75% speed. Let's go over the first line. Let's go through the first line. Here it is right here. We're going to start out on second string, 8th fret, which is a G, and we're going to kind of play around with that D minor 7th to G. All right, so we're outlining G chords and stuff. Okay, so we're starting on a G. We're coming down to the 3rd on the 9th fret, right, which is an E. And then we're bending up on the 10th fret a whole step to the B. So these are all like chord tones in G, right? Okay, so that's the first one. Here's the second one, very similar. Let me play that again. Okay, so here I'm thinking of a G7 chord, right? So we're playing this G note on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Again to the 9th, but now we're going up to the 10th, which is the flatted 7th of G, the F. back to the E, and then this little minor major thing that's on the 4th string, 8th fret, we're going to hammer to the 9th, and then play the 10th on the 5th. Jump up an octave, and then play a unison note. Pretty common. And give it some vibrato. Okay, so we're playing this note right here, which is a G, 2nd string, 8th fret. And then we're playing the F on the 3rd fret, on the 3rd string, which is the 10th, and we're bending up a whole step to the 12th to make a unison. Okay, here's the next part. Okay, so this is probably the trickiest part of the solo because you're having to move, and you can play it in a couple of different places, but I find this to be the most comfortable to make that large slide, which is the hardest part of the solo. Okay, so we're first going to play this, and then we're going to ascend to this. So let's just cover that. That's on the 2nd string. It's all 2nd string pull-offs, and then we'll play one pivot note on the 3rd string, and then back up, like so. So this is 8, pull off to 5 on the 2nd, 7th on the 3rd, back to the 5th on the 2nd. So now we're going to shift this up and play here, 10th, pull off to 8, 9th on the 3rd. Okay, so far we've got... Okay, here we're going to shift up. Okay, here is 10, slide up to this 2nd string. Now 10, slide up to 12. And then 10, 12, 10. And then we're going to slide up with our 1st finger, and there's a reason we're playing it with our 1st finger. It's easier to play it with the 3rd, for sure, to get up all the way to the 15th fret, which is a G. It's easier to get to the 3rd, but there's a reason we're sliding up with our 1st. It's because we're going to play another note. All right, so as soon as we get up to here on the 15th, we're going to immediately play a unison note, which is on the 2nd string, 18th. We're going to bend that up a whole step. Okay? And then we're going to play it again, 15, and then the unison note, and then 15 on the 1st. And then again. Okay, here's the whole thing slowly. One more time, super slow. Okay, here's the last part. Okay, I guess there's one more. So this is just on the 1st string, 17, 15, 17, and then we're going to bend up a whole step 4 times. Slowly bring it down to 17th, and then play 15 twice. So again, we're playing between the 3rd of the chord, which is a B, and the root, which is a G. All right, now here's the last note, or the last phrase. And this is really a cool phrase. First, let's learn it. It's 15th, we're going to bend up on the 2nd, a whole step. And then we're going to play the 15th on the 1st. And then we're going to play the 12th. And then we're going to play on the 2nd string, 15, 13. So the whole thing put together sounds like this. And give that last note some vibrato. Now, that's it. So that's the whole solo, which is cool. Now, what I love about that end is that it immediately goes into the verse chords, and it goes from the chorus chords, which were what we were playing over that solo, which were D minor 7 to G. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the chords, just because I think they're interesting. They're kind of interesting chords. We'll go over the actual guitar part, which is a little bit different than just the chords, but the actual the chords are pretty simple. So we've got a C and then an F. Now you can play an F with a C in the bass, that's fine, which would be this inversion right here. But let's just play a regular old F. So then we've got a C minor 7 back to an F. Okay, so it's now that's a pretty cool sound. All right, it does that twice, and then the second time after it's played, there's like a suspended chord before it goes into the chorus. Right, so here's the whole sort of verse, as it were. Okay, so we'll play a C to an F, C minor 7 to an F, C to an F, C minor 7 to an F, A suspended, A, and now, have you heard about the Lonesome Loser? And that is just a D minor 7. Have you heard about the Lonesome Loser? Have you do. That's just a D minor 7 to G. All right, and that's most of the song. The only thing that's a little bit different is the chorus, and that is the bridge, which is kind of like an F major 7 to a E minor 7, D minor 7, C major 7. So you're just walking down the chord scale, as it were, in C. And then we're going to go. There's a little deep G major or G minor 7 thrown in there, which is weird. Back to the F major 7, E minor 7. And now a key change, or an interesting interesting change here. E7, and then we're back in the same key. A minor. Have you heard about the Lonesome Loser? Can't get that key right on the singing. Sorry about that, gang. And then we're back to the chorus after that. And that's what the guitar solo's played over. So anyway, it's pretty neat chords. It's fun to play over these chords. And it's really a super solo. Hope you enjoyed this one. Well, there you have it, gang. Lonesome River Band. Lonesome River Band? No, Little River Band. Lonesome River Band was a bluegrass band. Yeah. Anyway. Little River Band with Lonesome Loser, the solo to it. Great solo. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on down the road.